welcome to Week in Geek, your new comics preview for July 25th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
I'm going to lead off here with DC's going to be doing these series of one-shots for National Comics, old National Comics characters. They're doing Eternity, which is essentially Kid Eternity. It's Eternity #1, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Cully Hamner. Looks pretty good. It's pretty all right. I was never really read a lot of Kid Eternity, but I just appreciate and respect some of those old Vertigo titles. And it's Jeff Lemire, and I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do with it. While I'm generally a passing fan of DC, I am enjoying the new 52 and them kind of having some fun because they really didn't spoil my childhood.
Yeah.
I know people that feel that way.
Yeah.
And I have felt that way about other things. This is not one of them. And then I've got issue #1 of Irresistible by Zenescope. This marks the first time I think I've ever had a Zenescope book in my pile.
Book, yeah.
I generally don't read the Grimm Fairy Tales or whatever. That sort of stuff just never really appealed to me. But I am friends with Raven Gregory on Facebook, and he'd been talking about Irresistible a lot, and he seemed pretty proud of what he'd done here. And I don't know. I'm kind of curious. It's about a guy who essentially has he's got like the Kavorka from Seinfeld. Chicks are all about him. You know, it's all about him, and I'm here on the cover of this. He's bored at the strip club. Chicks all over him. So it sounded kind of interesting, and I wanted to support Raven on that one. Then I'm looking at Resident Alien #3. This has been kind of cool. I've kind of liked it. You know, it's just alien living in a small town. Some weirdness going on. Like I said, I appreciate that everyone just sort of accepts it. No one points out that, hey, you look like a bad boy from Weekly World News. Then Dark Avengers 178, written by Jeff Parker. This is that continuation of Thunderbolts, which I think is kind of interesting, is it really is just sort of a continuation of what they've been doing, but then they were trying to find a home to what to do with their Dark Avengers story, because they had brought that back and doing some things. I like it. It's kind of cool. It's got me interested in Thunderbolts again. I tried to jump on when they made Man-Thing their vehicle, and Luke Cage was leading the team, and it ultimately just didn't do it for me for whatever reason, even I thought all those things were a recipe for success for me, but just didn't do it.
A lot of people are raving about this book.
I've liked the first few issues. I think it's been pretty cool. Then I'm still on board. Ghostbusters #11. Haunted America Part 3. They are now in Roswell, which, of course, that makes sense. I mean, let's go where you're supposed to, the legend of the aliens and the alien crash and all that. I like that Ghostbusters in some ways is just kind of getting into some other weirdness, and this looks like Ghosts of Aliens. Awesome.
That's a cool idea.
I go to Roswell and fight the ghosts of the aliens that died there.
Good idea.
All
Why
right.
has no one ever thought of that before?
I don't know. Superman Family Adventures #3. I feel like it's just, the Tiny Titans grown up. I at first was a little nervous, not nervous because I knew Art was going to deliver. Art and Frank will always deliver. But, I was sad to lose my Tiny Titans.
A lot of people were.
But there's no reason to. The characters have just grown up a little, and this is still really, really good fun.
And now you got Superman.
Exactly. And Art drawn Superman, or write and drawn Superman, which, it's obviously his dream. You're the only person I know who can defend Superman 4.
Only person.
It's his Superman 3. Then I've got Planet of the Apes #16. Still really enjoying this.
That's a great cover.
It really is, like the nuclear bomb with the skull in it, and one of the... I like that they're building this story where essentially they have these priests, these human kind of priests doing things, and they're going to become the mutants. They're going to go underground. And they're going to come out for a little while for Battle 4, and then they're going to go underground for Beneath.
That's some nice artwork.
It really, really does look great. I think this book has been fantastic. Who's doing it? Carlos Magno still. He's been doing it the whole way through. Planet of the Apes has just been... Boom's doing a great job with it. I really dig it. And we've also got Exile on Planet of the Apes this week, which is, I believe this one is written by Karina Betchko and Gabriel Hardman and art by Mark Laming. Okay. Karina Betchko and Gabriel Hardman have love for the apes. They really, really do. And that was kind of why they agreed to do this book, as long as they got to do some things and play and still be loyal to what came before. And it's really, really cool. I wish... the art's great. I wish Hardman was still doing it. No offense to this guy. He's not Gabriel Hardman.
No. You are.
Exactly. And I just love stories of Zeus and that whole crew. This really does kind of feel like it fits into the stuff I like. Then I'm looking at American Vampire #29. The Blacklist Part 2. I'm an issue behind on this, so I don't know where this one...
Looks like we've got Raphael Albuquerque back on art chores.
I love his stuff.
Great stuff.
I really, really like his art a lot.
I'm glad he got to do the backups in Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, those were cool. Been a great book. I think Scott Snyder's doing a great job. That probably has something to do with why he got in on Batman. Then Avengers 28. This looks like Red Hulk's gonna cause some trouble here on the cover.
Walt Simonson Red Hulk.
Walt Simonson pencils here. That's awesome. That really looks fantastic. With Bendis being a little word heavy, this looks kind of cool. It looks like they're just sort of narrating on the side, and then that art play out on its own. So it looks like it's primarily, not a lot of word bubbles at all. Almost going silent with just some narration there and some great art. There's some word bubbles. Walt Simonson doing Avengers. You're not going to beat that. Then I'm looking at Grim Reaper number 3. This is a story by Curtis Wiebe with art by Luzio C. Santos. Kind of had, as I was saying before, sort of that Final Destination kind of vibe. This guy and this girl keep, whenever they die, they jump into another body, but then death seeks them. And they have ran into each other and realized they've got this same affliction, essentially. And they've fallen in love, and essentially they're in different bodies every time, having to find each other, but still, in love with each other all the same. It's pretty cool. I like it.
It also sounds like a TV show idea.
Well, and I'm sure that'll end up that way. I mean, you could, because you have 2 different people every week.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need the same actors. It's almost like a Love Boat.
Yeah, wow. A Love Boat, but with death. That's a great high concept pitch.
Next, I'm looking at Manhattan Projects number 5. Holy crap, have you been reading this?
I'm not caught up.
Oh my goodness, the last issue was fantastic. I had fallen like a week behind on it, like I just didn't read it when it first came out. And I was like, I haven't read that yet. Picked it up, read it I think last week and a half ago. After that, I was jonesing for 5.
Is that the one with Einstein?
Yes.
Oh, then maybe I did read it.
Yeah, the Einstein issue where he's totally staring at the thing and you find out what's been going on.
Yeah, okay. I did read that one. Wow.
Man, that was freaking fantastic.
It must be a while since that last one came out.
I think it was. I think it's been longer than a month because I know I had fallen behind a couple weeks and I was like, I need to read this. So I'm looking to see where this is going. I mean, now, not only is, what's his name not what he appears?
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer is his twin brother who cannibalized him and all that. Now perhaps Einstein. There's something going on with him that's kind of cool. I am having fun with this. This feels more, and obviously it's creator owned, but this feels like no boundaries on what he began with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
He kind of using that strange history concept and manipulating history around to do what he wanted. He's really doing that here and doesn't have to include any Marvel characters. Love it. Absolutely awesome stuff. And that takes me through the bulk of my stack.
Well, I'm going to lead off with Mighty Thor, again by Matt Fraction. Last issue we had Thor turn into kind of like a Glenn Danzig death metal dude, and now he's back. But he's still fighting the Enchantress and the head of Dr. Don Blake. I don't know how that's going to factor into it. Basically, it's some sort of nightmare realm. Okay. People's nightmare. People are falling asleep. Their nightmares are all joining and sort of gaining power. And if those nightmare powers, get unleashed, it can cause doom. Meantime, the Enchantress is trying to get to the World Tree for her own nefarious ends. But it's been pretty solid, actually. I like the artwork on this book a lot.
Looks pretty good.
But it's good. I mean, it's Matt Fraction, so some stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it's Thor fighting the Enchantress, which is some good classic stuff. And weird, it's almost, with all the nightmare and dream stuff. It's odd that the character of Nightmare hasn't popped up.
I'm sure he will. Maybe probably building to that.
But so it's kind of like, I guess Neil Gaiman, when he did Sandman, included a Thor. So now they're doing kind of an inverse of that here, I guess. Next up, Wolverine and the X-Men. Kitty's hot date. Looks like Kitty is going out with the Phoenix Force Colossus. This has been a fun book. Really just a lot of good stuff. It looks like maybe this is going to take a somewhat lighter tone on the A versus X stuff. The book's actually been fairly light in tone. I mean, it gets dark in some areas, but it definitely has the feel of kids in the school. This is the X-Men book that's doing that. It's taking care of that part of the X-Men universe. I don't know if this book's going to be around after the big Marvel Now relaunch. Right. If it isn't, that'll be kind of sad because it actually has been a fun book, and Jason Aaron's still doing a good job. It looks like we've got Jorge Molina on the artwork here, so it's different than the other two that have been going back and forth. Still some pretty solid stuff. Next up, Green Lantern number 11, The Revenge of the Black Hand.
That should be pretty cool.
This should be some good stuff. I mean, we've dealt with the Indigo Tribe. We've got some of their some of the answers to who they are and why they are. Certainly, the Indigo Tribe had taken Black Hand with them, and then when all
you found out they weren't exactly what they appeared.
Right, then all of the Indigo Lanterns sort of go down and they go back to who they were, and they were all sort of villains. So he goes back to being, I think he gets killed and then becomes a Black Lantern again. So we've got some more of that, some more of the Indigo Tribe. We're really just learning that a lot of the stuff that's going on is really going to unveil yet more deviousness on the part of the Guardians. Abin Sur was attempting to build an army to oppose the Guardians at some point. I know the upcoming storyline has got the Guardians creating a new army of their own because of the Lanterns, and that ties in what's going in with the Alpha Lanterns. So all the Lantern stuff is one big story that's building towards yet another War of the Lanterns. I don't know. On that subject, here's Larfleeze and the Green Lantern and the New Guardians. At the end of the last issue, they figured out that Larfleeze had betrayed the Blue Lanterns and gave up the location of their homeworld. The homeworld was devastated, and I think the blue power battery destroyed by the Blue Beetles. I guess they want to be the only blue out there. They realized that Larfleeze was behind it, so now they're all going for revenge on Larfleeze, which should be pretty cool.
I like Larfleeze.
Next up, we've got Superman number 11. This is some more fill-in until Scott Lobdell and Kenneth Roquefort take over the book with the Zero issue. Dan Jurgens and Jesus Marino, again, doing some nice, tight 90s throwback art. But this one apparently is going to reveal a little bit more about Superman's costume and how it fits in the New 52. He's no longer, I believe, just wears the full costume underneath the outfit. Now it's just like the shirt, and then when he rips it open, it grows out and turns into a costume like Iron Man's used to. I don't know. We'll see. But again, this is kind of like filler until the new creative team can take over and do their thing. Next up, we've got Trio number 3 by John Byrne. Well, if you like John Byrne's Fantastic Four, buy this book, because it's the same sort of thing. They had Namor, basically, and now we've got like a big kind of hulking monster and a Galactus-ish looking thing. So if you and a Nazi with a skull head. So yeah, I mean, this is real throwback comics. If you don't like the Fantastic Four that you're getting today, because it's not the Fantastic Four of your youth, buy this.
All right.
It's one number off. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man. This has got Spider-Man and Morbius sort of fighting it out. The Lizard has manipulated the situation. He's Dr. Kurt Connor's body, but with the twisted, evil reptile mind of the Lizard, so it's kind of a nice inversion. But everybody thinks it's Dr. Kurt Connors. He's kind of manipulating the situation, kind of pinning some things on Morbius.
They just think he has a lisp and hangs on his S's too long. They're like, whatever, it's cool. He's been through a lot.
They just figure he's a little swishy.
We don't want to...
But this
don't mess with his speech impediment. Leave him alone.
Right, that's not politically correct. So, he sort of set Morbius up. Oh, it looks like we've got some more lizards. Obviously it's tying into the premises of the Spider-Man movie with Spider-Man versus the Lizard.
So I'm really hoping Morbius is that guy.
That would be cool. That would be very, very cool. And this has been some good Morbius. He's works at the same lab Peter Parker works in, because you forget, even though he's a vampire, he's a brilliant scientist. He just happens to periodically.
Well, he's a living vampire. Didn't he have some kind of bug disease? And he turned himself into.
He's not a real vampire. He's not a mystical vampire. This is just sort of more of a science-based vampire. And so he's a scientist trying to find a cure for his disease.
As they all are.
As they all are. But every once in a while he loses it and sucks the blood from somebody.
That happens.
Which kind of pisses off the rest of the people working there.
Yeah, but that stuff happens. What are you going to do?
It happened to my job just last week. Next up, Hit Girl number 2. Again, Hit Girl was sort of a breakout star from that thing.
Right.
Now we get a little bit more of her story. This does take place between Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. This is actually chapter 2 of the Kick-Ass saga. And so, it's the in-between stuff, so we know how things are going to play out. But we get to see Hit Girl, kicking some ass again. And actually giving Kick-Ass a little bit more instruction. And teaching him a few things, because she She knows how to do it.
Well, she's been through more than him, too.
A whole lot. Next up, my Hickman book this week, we've got FF number 20. It looks like we got some Inhumans, we got some Kree, we've got the kids.
I love the Inhumans.
This has been a great book. I mean, this is one that's probably not going to survive the Marvel Now, which I'm fine with because I'd rather not see it.
I don't want it under someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this whole thing is Hickman's baby.
Yes.
So hopefully it'll end when he leaves the book. Next up, Winter Soldier. This has been really solid. I mean, the first arc was good, but the second arc has been a lot better. I think one of the other, they're not Winter Soldiers. One of the other operatives, the sleeper agents, has kind of woken up and is sort of now looking for revenge on Bucky or on the Winter Soldier. Great artwork by Michael Lark. This is just a great espionage spy thriller superhero book. And, it's got twists and turns. The guys going after Natasha, going after some of the scientists that were behind the Winter Soldier program. So basically, it's the Bourne Identity with superheroes. So that's good stuff. That's the bulk of my stack.
All right, well, that's going to bring me to my top pick here. I'm looking at Debris number 1 by Curtis Wiebe and Riley Rossmo. This, as I understand it, pretty much started out as a sketch. And then, can we build a story around it? And they did. It looks like kind of a biomechanical monster thing. The art looks a lot cleaner than Riley usually. Kind of a different take on the colors, too.
And very different from that Wild Children artwork, too.
Yes.
So,
the Wild Children was different. I kind of liked it. It was weird. Really, really weird. But I dug it. This looks great. I'm really, really liking Curtis's stuff as a writer. He's got 2 things in my stack this week by him.
Yeah.
And as always, I'm always... supporting the Riley Rossmo stuff because I think his art is just some of the best stuff going right now.
It looks like it's yet some more really solid sci-fi stuff coming out of Image.
Yeah. Yes. So I got to give that a good read. I believe it's only a miniseries though. I think it's only 4 issues.
That's kind of like miniseries.
Either 4 or 6 or whatever, but should be fun. Art looks great. It's Riley Rossmo, Curtis Wiebe. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're gonna read it. That's what you're gonna do.
That's what you're gonna do. The top pick for me is Captain America number 15. I've been kind of down on this book lately. It's sort of been a shadow of its former self, but strangely, this is the one that I was most looking forward to because this is the beginning of the end of Brubaker's run.
Okay.
So for me, I'm hoping that means he's going to pull out all the stops. He's going to sort of kick it up a notch, tie up the loose ends, and really give us something that is a good ending for really would become the definitive Captain America run and the defining run for him, as well as for the character. We've got Steve Epting doing the cover. I believe he's actually coming back for the final issue of this run.
Oh, good.
Before they reboot the book with Marvel Now. We've got Scott Eaton, who I think is a very, very underrated, just sort of classic superhero
Stuff
artist.
looks great.
Yeah, I mean, he draws good old-fashioned, old-school,
colors
big
are nice
muscle
too.
Superheroes. This is not postmodern. There's no kind of edge to it. This is just classic, good superhero stuff. In the classic Marvel style, and Brubaker actually knows how to write like that pretty well too. My favorite run on this particular part of the book was the Alan Davis stuff, which was definitely kind of a throwback to a 70s Cap. This looks like it might be a throwback a little bit more to an 80s Cap, but we're tying in a lot of the loose ends, and I'm just hoping that Brubaker can deliver an ending that is as good as the beginning that he gave us. How many years ago now?
A while ago.
A long time ago. So, my opinion, the best run ever on Captain America, and it's coming to a close. So, even though I haven't been a big fan of the book lately, I'm just kind of excited to see how this thing ends. And that's my top pick.
Right on. Well, I'd like to call out one other thing. We frequently talk about Archie, lately. They're doing an Occupy story this month on Archie, and there's a great Jill Thompson cover.
Oh,
you look at that, there's a really, really nice Jill Thompson cover on that thing, and I think that's definitely worth a look. So we also want to talk about Batman Inc.
Yeah. Batman Incorporated was scheduled to ship this week. DC has pulled the book from being sold in light of the shootings in Colorado because of some content that may be considered insensitive. The book has shipped to a lot of locations. Some places may have it on sale, but you're not going to be putting it out.
I'm not going to put it out. No, they've asked. I probably am going to make a phone call today to my guy over at DC and see exactly what's going on.
DC has requested out of respect for the sensitivity of the situation that the book not go on sale. I haven't read it. I don't think you've read it
No.
yet, so I don't know what the content is. But they have requested that it be held, so you're going to hold on to it for a while.
That's my plan.
So if you're looking for it and it's not here, that's why it didn't get delayed. It didn't get shipped for late or something. It's just
They're trying to be sensitive.
Trying to be sensitive to the situation, and I think that's a good thing. That shows a lot of class on DC's part.
Absolutely.
To just sort of hold off on. They could have capitalized on this, and instead of doing that, they're actually showing some respect. And hopefully all the retailers will respect that as well. And don't run out and buy it on eBay, because that's just
right. Well, someone's selling it on eBay somewhere, unfortunately.
I'm sure, and those are not good people.
And with that, that is your Week in Geek.